All right. Hello, everyone. If we could get the slides up, that'd be great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. It's amazing to be here in the beautiful city of Bangkok. I have to say, I think this Charleston in Asia is the best idea anyone's ever had. So thank you for coming. I'm delighted to be here. My name is Emily Singley, and I am the Vice President of Library Relations for Elsevier. I'm going to spend the next 15 or so minutes sharing with you our latest AI solution, which is called LeapSpace. You are the first, to my knowledge, you are the first audience to actually see this product because it launched about 4 days ago. So yeah, you're a very special crowd. Also, it's very brand new, and I'm a little nervous that it's, live demo. I'm going to try a live demo. We're going to hope that everything works perfectly today. And if not, I've got some screenshots for you. So just to dive right in, LeapSpace. What is LeapSpace? LeapSpace is our AI solution that combines across Elsevier platforms. So it's a new platform that brings together ScienceDirect full-text content, full-text content from our publishing partners, so other publishers. This is a cross-publisher solution. And also all of the data from Scopus, including author search and author data. So we're going to dive into that. It's really designed to be a platform for researchers for all of the different work that they do across their workflow. So we know, of course, why something like this is needed. This is sort of why we decided to develop something like LeapSpace. Researchers are using AI. We recently just published a survey of 3,000 researchers globally and found some really extraordinary numbers in terms of uptake just in the last year from researchers. And we've also found that researchers are using AI tools, and for the most part, they're using what I would call consumer grade or generic AI tools. Your ChatGPT that's searching the open web, DeepSeek also searching the open web, right? And whereas over 80% are using it, only 22% actually trust the tools they're using. So there's this huge gap here, right? They love the efficiency of it. They love how easy it is to use, but they're not searching your library resources. They're not searching your library databases. They're getting back whatever's on the open web. So this is what the researchers told us about what they're looking for. They're looking for real good transparency. They want to see what the AI tool is searching and where it's finding its information. They want to be able to link directly to those sources as easily and as quickly as possible. They want good sources, good content. Of course they do. They want peer-reviewed content. They want current literature. They're really interested in security and data privacy, confidentiality, making sure that whatever they're putting into the tool isn't getting fed up into the large language model and being trained, right? Use it for training data. So this brings us to LeapSpace. This is why we kind of developed this platform. And again, this is something that brings together all the peer-reviewed content into a responsible AI single platform that researchers can use for across their different workflow needs. In terms of content, right, we made sure to include only high-quality, vetted, curated content. Those of you who know Scopus, which is a database, abstract and indexing database of over 90 million articles, that is vetted and curated by our Scopus review board. So, it's a very high bar in terms of the kind of content that we're using here. And another thing we developed for LeapSpace is what we're calling the trust card. And this is a kind of a summary that pops up that shows the user how confident they can be in these results, including highlighting things like whether some of the resources that it found contradict one another. So this is sort of to encourage that critical thinking and make sure that people understand, some sources are saying this, some sources are saying that. Another thing we did around transparency is to ensure that the user can see exactly how the tool came up with the resources it did, how it ran a search. So really bringing that to the foreground. And as I mentioned before, LeapSpace isn't just about search and retrieval and information seeking. It's also about other tasks that researchers have, including finding funding opportunities and finding collaborators, finding people you can collaborate with on your research. And we are really careful to design all of our AI tools to be thought partners. Sometimes with these generic tools that researchers are using, it's a little bit too eager to agree with you and to sort of say, hey, you wanted to know this, here's the answer, and not really show you where it got that information or why it might not be trustworthy. We're a little more cautious. We're going to say to the researcher, you know, we're maybe not so sure about this. Our confidence rating is a little bit low, right? We want to be really upfront with the researcher about what we're doing with the tool. And of course, as I mentioned before, high privacy standards and data security standards are always a part of what we do on our platforms. So at Elsevier, we've been working with these generative models for over 2 years now. We started with Scopus AI and then Science Direct AI tools. And again, LeapSpace is bringing these together. And we really, built this based on the 2 years worth of feedback we had from our customers. They were asking for more content, more breadth of content beyond Elsevier content. So we are doing that. They wanted to be able to include their own references and data in the tool. So we have the ability to upload to your own library and run the AI tool over that. And also deep research, they asked for that sort of more in-depth, longer query and agentic AI-based research, and we did that too. This one's more responses from Science Direct AI, critical thinking, human in the loop, right, that accountability. So similar to what I was sharing before. And they wanted to be able to evaluate, right, again, that critical thinking piece, evaluate the validity of a source. That's those trust cards, and that's how we were thinking along those lines. So I'm going to attempt to go to another screen now, so wish me luck. All right, so this is LeapSpace, and I hope I'm still signed in. We're going to test this out. So I'm going to just run a query. We'll see what happens. If not, we'll go back to the screenshot. Yay, it's working. Okay. So the first thing it does is you can see it's crunching through, creating a plan, right? And it shows you what it's doing. And this is really important. And it only shows up for a second, but then you can pull it back up if you want to dig through and see what it did. So you can see it's searching across Scopus, it's searching across full text, and it's really outlining for you exactly how it got the information it did. And that's really important because we don't want this to be a black box. We want to be fully transparent about what we're doing. And then, of course, as all AI tools do, it gives you a summary, includes some nice charts. Sometimes there's a visualization. We'll see, I didn't get a visualization that time, but that's okay. And then most importantly, of course, it's linking out to any citations, right? It's saying, here's where I found this information. So we can click on these and pull back the actual reference, the actual article, right? And if there's full text, it will link you out to the full text. If it's a Scopus abstract, and there's almost always a Scopus abstract, it'll link you to the abstract. The important thing here is that it will show you this link to statement. This is the trust card. This is showing you what it thinks it found in this article. And this gives you that sort of confidence that, yes, I had a certain question that I asked. This is why it thinks this content is relevant for this question. I'm just going to pull up see what else we've got here. I'm looking for something that has full text. And if I'm lucky, I'll find something with full text. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not for this. We'll try a different query. And another thing that this is doing is it's allowing you to do follow-up queries, provides you some follow-up suggestions, and you can see all of the references if you wanted to just get them in a list. Now I want to go in and show you back to the main screen here. I want to show you this in that we also have the ability to do deep research. So this was something that researchers were asking for as well. So I'm probably not going to have time to run the whole query because it takes a while, but just to show it to you, let's put in another query. Let's see what it does with that. So again, this is that transparency piece. It's kind of stepping you through creating a research plan and starting the initial research process. This can run for several minutes, but what it will spit out is an in-depth report on the topic that you can then export to a PDF or download and use as a document. So you can see that sort of agentic AI crunching through the different steps here of this research question. The other thing about the deep research that you'll find is that it tends to come back with more sources than the brief question, the initial query that I showed. So that usually comes back with maybe 10, 15 sources. This may come up. I did one the other day where it had over 70 sources in the report. So it's much more in-depth depending on what your topic is. All right. Let that crunch away for a minute. The other thing I wanted to share with you is this is going beyond just, as I said, just beyond discovery, beyond information seeking. The other thing we can do is we're leveraging the Scopus author database. So a common use case for researchers is finding collaborators, right? Who can I collaborate with in a given field? So let's just ask it to give me some collaborators in this same field I was asking about before, RNA research. You can see those co-pilot steps. It's looking at authors in the Scopus database. And spits back some researchers. So you can see it's come up with people who are high-profile folks in this field. Shows you sort of their number of citations, where they're from, and of course you can take a closer look at them, see their documents. You can go out to Scopus to see their profile as well. So this is super helpful because it takes this task that researchers have and puts it all into the same platform. And the last thing that I'm going to share with you really quickly is funding opportunities, right? So this takes advantage of the funding institutional data that we have and brings back grant opportunities in a researcher's given field. And here we go. And this is, this is important because sometimes there's grants out there that researchers aren't aware of. So this helps them discover these grants and find the opportunities that they could look at. And I want to leave time for questions, so I am going to open it up now for you. And ask you, what do you think? And if you have any questions for me. Yeah. Yes. Full text. So this is full text coming from publishing partners. Right now we have brought in and signed with Emerald, Sage, IOP, New England Journal of Medicine. But we are currently in conversation with other publishers, and those will be announced as we firm up those partnerships. And so the idea here is that it wouldn't just be an Elsevier platform, but it would be full text across many publishers. We do have some open access content in there as well from other publishers, and that was true with Science Direct AI, but we're hoping to expand that out with more formal agreements. Thank you. Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure about the details of those agreements. My understanding, and if there's Elsevier and the Elsevier colleagues in the room who know answers, please let me know. But I think it's all their content and their full text. Yeah. Great question. Other questions? Yes. Yes, so reading the full text would rely on entitlement for whether it's for us or for our partners. So, and that's important for making sure that the partners want to work with us. Is we always say, there will be authentication and entitlement would have to be there. Yeah. Data from the funding body directly. Yeah. Yeah. And the funding institutional data that we're using comes from a platform called Funding Institutional. My understanding is that it's still a growing data set. So we have certain strengths in certain regions, but it's not necessarily going to cover all funding agencies globally. Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't know if it's real time or not, or how often it gets updated. That's an excellent question. Yeah, the ones I was looking at as I was sort of playing around with it seemed to be very current. So these would be grants that are currently available to be applied for. So that's and I also saw things like fellowships and other types of opportunities in there. Yeah. Good question. Oh, temporary. So it's not saving any of this. When we first started developing, so when I sign in later, it won't remember me. And when we first started developing generative AI tools a couple of years ago, we kept the privacy really, really strict. So we weren't remembering any queries, which meant if you typed in a query, there was no way to do like a follow-up question because it would be just immediately forget it. And then researchers didn't like that too much. So we said, okay, we're going to make this a little bit more interactive. You can save your queries. You can have a follow-up question and so forth. But if you want to, you can keep it on temporary and just don't remember me at all. And that just makes the privacy, really high. So you have the option to go either way. Good question. We are pretty much at time, everybody. I want to thank you so much. These sessions are always so short. So if you want to see more, if you want to play around with it a little bit, if you have more questions for us, we do have a booth and I am around. My name's Emily Singley, happy to connect with any of you. Thank you so much for your time.